I thought this painting was done. I published it online, on my website, even inside my book, and it was nagging at me for a while. I had this like sneaking voice like deep in my intuition that I should paint over it. And it was scary to paint over it, not only because it's the largest canvas I've ever painted and it's this big thing, so it was like intimidating to, already to paint it the first time was intimidating. And then to paint over it was intimidating. It felt risky that I would mess it up or make it worse. But at the end of the day, and I always remind myself of this, I can always paint over a painting. So there really is no risk to messing it up or making a bad painting, because if I don't like something or it's not right, I can always paint over it. So what's the big deal? This one though was harder to paint over. It was hard to finish, honestly. If you've seen other videos about this piece, I started it in 2021 and finished it in 2024. So and I think it's just because of the scale of it. Like I was creating pressure on myself to like get it right because it's this huge canvas. But that's just how our nervous systems work, right? We progressively can work on bigger things. It's like going to the gym. You can progressively lift more weights. I think about the same with creating and marketing and selling. We can progressively handle more and more. So I actually have 2 works in progress that are even larger than this, which I'm excited to get to and to see if they feel easier and less intimidating to make. Another reason that the piece before was nagging at me was because I used paintbrushes to make it. And nothing wrong with paintbrushes, but most of my art, my favorite pieces, I made using palette knives, specifically this one tool. This piece here, I've used on so many pieces, and all my favorites, not all my favorites, but a lot of them are done with this. And I just feel really good using this, and everything I make using this, I really like. So I had this feeling that I used brushes on that piece and I was like, didn't really feel like natural or like my thing, you know? So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go back over it. I'm gonna use the tool that I love. I'm gonna use colors that I love, and minimal experimentation here. I'm just gonna go back to basics, use the tool, use the colors, use this composition that I know I love, and just make it happen. Also, fun fact, this color scheme, the gray and the teal, was what I initially had in mind too when I started this canvas 3-4 years ago in 2021. So I was like, fuck it. I think the piece before this, I was overthinking it, which is something that gets in the way of all our creativity, right? Overthinking things with our mind instead of dropping into our intuition and our feelings and our gut instincts. Those are usually the more aligned guidance on creating good art. So I just went for it, and I intentionally just entered this like mindless flow state of just like, I'm just gonna do whatever feels right. So I went for it. I had these colors in mind, this general composition. I was like, the gray, it's all intuitive at this point. I just follow whatever intuitively feels right. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this light gray on the edges. I know this color, Payne's gray, has kind of a cool tone to it, and mix it with white. It's nice, cool gray that I like. That's gonna match well with the blue. I knew that if I do thin layers of paint, then the back colors are gonna pop through a little bit. So if you look closely, you can see the purple popping through the gray, which I like. And the dark bottom half pops through the blue, which I like. And then a lot of these paintings, I want to create this like sense of depth and like almost like a portal that kind of pulls you in. And I think one way to achieve that is to create this like kind of darker area in the middle or bottom that kind of like feels like this thing that like pulls you in. And then the lighter edges, it just creates this like, it's almost like a shadowy like depth, you know? Like looking at a lake or a pool, it's darker where it's deeper. That's exactly it. In the water, looking at the ocean or the lake, it's darker where it's deeper. So that's kind of the effect I'm going for with these when I create this like sense of darkness there. So that's almost like a deeper area, and then the border just kind of creates this compositional containment to hold the piece. And then also the curved strokes composition, I've done that on past pieces, namely pieces that I call in like the Portal series. And I know that also creates this like containment depth effect. And so yeah, I just knew with this piece, back to basics, do things I know I like, that I know are gonna look good. And that's what I did. And then at the end, when I finally started doing these like curved brush strokes, is when I really feel like I dropped into a flow state of not thinking about things and kind of just like being in action, which is always the best pieces I've ever done happen when I'm in that state of just like mindless action. So I got to a point where I thought it was done, and that's when I just step back, I look at it as a whole, and then I'll see, this is, the mind comes back, I'll see little areas that I want to touch up just to make the composition feel more balanced and complete. So that's what I did. I think it was mostly the corners on this piece, and then it was done. And I love it. Some pieces I instantly love right away. Others take a few weeks to grow on me, but this one, I instantly loved it. I stepped back and I was like, yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, that's it. Enjoy. And that's the feeling I hope other people get. And if they don't, that's okay too, because not everyone's art is for everyone. And I know my art isn't for everyone. But for those of you who it is for, like and subscribe to my channel, sign up to my email list, check out my book, check out my art, all the wares, and see you around. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you liked, and I'll make more.